Ambassador Zethkar's four eyes dilated in horror as he reviewed the latest intelligence report from the Kepler 442b system. The holographic display showed what had once been a pristine, uninhabited world, now transformed into something that defied every known principle of galactic colonization. "Impossible," he whispered, his translator device struggling to convey the tremor in his voice. "They've been there for only 18 standard cycles." His aide, a nervous Vorthan named Quill, shuffled his tentacles anxiously. "Sir, perhaps we should inform the Galactic Council immediately. This changes everything." The planet below had been a textbook example of a Class M world when the humans first arrived. Temperate climate, suitable atmosphere, abundant water, and most importantly, completely uninhabited. The Galactic Colonization Accords clearly stated that such worlds were to be developed slowly, carefully, with minimal environmental impact. Most species took centuries to establish a single sustainable city. The humans had built 17. Zethkar zoomed in on the largest settlement, designated New Austin according to their records. What he saw challenged his understanding of physics itself. Massive structures that seemed to grow organically from the landscape, transportation networks that moved faster than most starships, and energy signatures that suggested the humans had somehow convinced the planet's core to work overtime. "Sir," Quill ventured, "should we not be pleased? Surely rapid development means rapid integration into galactic commerce." The ambassador's laugh was bitter. "You don't understand, Quill. Look at the atmospheric readings." The younger alien complied, his beak dropping open in disbelief. "The oxygen levels are higher than when they arrived. 23% higher. They've terraformed a world that didn't need terraforming." Zethkar pulled up another display. "And look at the biodiversity index. It's increased by 40%? Quill's voice rose to a squeak. "But how? Their industrial capacity should have caused massive ecosystem collapse. Because they're humans, Quill. They don't follow the rules." Zethkar had been studying humanity for the better part of a decade, ever since they'd first achieved faster-than-light travel. Every species in the galaxy had taken millennia to master interstellar flight. Humans had gone from first nuclear reaction to FTL capability in less than 2 centuries. They were supposed to be impossible. The report continued with details that made Zethkar's stomachs churn. The humans hadn't just colonized Kepler 442b, they'd optimized it. Native species weren't being driven extinct. They were thriving in human-designed habitats that somehow made them healthier than they'd ever been in nature. The planet's weather patterns had been subtly adjusted to eliminate the devastating storm seasons that had previously ravaged the southern continent. "Sir, there's more," Quill said, his voice barely a whisper. "They've sent a delegation to the neighboring systems." "Oh, by the Void Stars, no. 3 colony ships to Kepler 442c and preliminary surveys of the entire system. They want to establish what they call a local cluster." Zethkar felt his diplomatic composure cracking. This was exactly what the Council had feared when humanity first applied for galactic membership. Every established species had learned through bitter experience that rapid expansion led to resource wars, ecological collapse, and eventually, civilizational suicide. It was why the colonization accords existed, to prevent species from destroying themselves through their own success. But humans didn't destroy, they created. "Pull up the xenobiology report on their agricultural systems," Zethkar ordered. The data that appeared made both aliens fall silent. Crop yields that exceeded theoretical maximums, soil that grew richer with each harvest season, livestock that lived longer and healthier lives than their wild counterparts. The humans had somehow turned farming into a regenerative process. "They're not following any known patterns of development," Zethkar muttered. "Every species goes through predictable phases: expansion, exploitation, collapse, careful recovery. But look at their resource consumption curves. The graphs showed the impossible, a species that consumed more while leaving their environment in better condition than they'd found it." "How do we report this to the Council?" Quill asked. "They'll never believe it." Zethkar was already composing the message in his head, trying to find words that wouldn't make him sound insane. How could he explain that humanity's colony didn't just threaten the galactic order? It made every other species look like children playing with toys. "Sir, there's one more thing." Quill's voice was barely audible. They've sent us an invitation. What kind of invitation? To visit, to see what they call sustainable paradise for ourselves. They want to share their techniques with other species. The ambassador stared at the message that appeared on his screen. It was written in 17 different languages, including his own. With perfect grammar and cultural sensitivity, the humans were offering to teach other species how to colonize worlds without destroying them, for free. No territorial demands, no trade concessions, no political leverage. They simply wanted to share their knowledge because, as the message cheerfully stated, a galaxy full of thriving worlds is better for everyone. Zethkar closed his eyes and tried to imagine explaining this to the council. A species that broke every rule of colonization, while somehow following the spirit of those rules better than anyone else. A species that expanded not by conquest but by creation, that consumed not by destruction but by regeneration. A species that every other civilization dreaded not because they were warriors or conquerors, but because they made everyone else look bad at the one thing that defined galactic civilization, the ability to responsibly inhabit worlds. "Draft a response, Quill," he said finally. "We're going to visit this colony. What should we tell the council?" Zethkar looked at the impossible planet one more time, watching cities that hummed with life while forests grew taller and rivers ran cleaner. "Tell them we're about to learn why the galaxy might need to rewrite the definition of civilization itself." As their ship turned toward Kepler 442b, neither alien noticed the small notification on their console. 17 more human colony expeditions had just launched from Earth, each headed for a different star system. The transformation was just beginning.